Greetings, everyone. I'm Lance Dunahoe, and welcome to this edition of DFW Real Estate's Best Podcast, where we introduce you to the top producing agents and their vetted business partners, the real movers and shakers in DFW Real Estate. This week, we have some amazing guests, a true legacy builder in the DFW construction, new construction world, known for building beautiful homes, creating five-star customer experiences, and working well with realtors in a tough market. Peter Shattuck, co-owner and vice president of Shattuck Homes, and Jay Hankla, general manager. And their guest, an agent who ranks in the top 250 agents in Dallas real estate, who has a reputation as a true advocate for his clients, and who's featured in the May issue of Dallas Real Producers, Mr. Trenton Johnson with the Legacy Group with EXP. So if you want to hear their stories, how they started, what inspires them, how they got to be who they are, then tune in right now. Welcome to DFW Real Estate's Best Podcast, brought to you by Real Producers Magazine. Jordan and I come to you live every Wednesday at 11 o'clock from your favorite platforms, Facebook Live, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, you name it. Before I introduce our guests, I want to share a little bit about the Real Producers community. Real Producers is a national magazine in over 100 markets across the country. In DFW, we have 3 magazines and are launching our 4th, Fort Worth Real Producers, this August. Essentially 4 magazine communities made up of the top 2,000 real estate agents in DFW and their vetted business partners, the best agents and the best businesses that they work with. And we get to share their stories with you. Today, we have a great show with some of my favorite real producer influencers, Peter Shattuck and Jay Hankla with Shattuck Homes, and realtor extraordinaire Trenton Johnson. But before we get started, our podcast is powered by The Difference. The Difference Radio live stream podcast provides video branding and digital business development solutions for small business owners and entrepreneurs locally and statewide. With over 1 million viewers in 2021 and growing, The Difference can help any business grow their brand awareness and develop a message that humanizes your business, expands your connections and relationships, increases your influence and relevance, and quickly helps you become known as a power player and mover and shaker in your sphere, community, industry, and business world. And with that, I'd like to bring on our guests. There's Mr. Trenton Johnson, Peter Shattuck, and Jay Hankla with Shattuck Homes. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
Hey, Peter and Jay, I'd like for you to guys quickly just introduce yourself, talk a little bit about Shattuck Homes, and then we'll introduce Trenton, and then we're going to talk a little bit about how y'all know each other.
All right. Well, my name's Peter Shattuck. Grew up in a family home building business my whole life. You know, I thought I want to be like my dad, and I started that at an early age and carried through my college career until, got out of college and got in the business. But always fun watching my dad be outdoors and do stuff different than everybody else's dad, and make money.
Yeah, right on. Well, we just realized that we went to high school together. So I watched you guys develop a lot of North Dallas, a lot of the homes, maybe even the home that I grew up in. So we're going to get into some of that later. I'm excited to hear more about that story. Trenton Johnson, welcome to the show, man. Tell us about yourself real quick.
Trenton Johnson. I've been in Dallas Fort Worth real estate for 7 years. Been a top producer every year, and all that means is I've really been able. My passion for helping people has really shined, and really enjoyed it. I've got 3 children. Been married 23 years, and just got a passion for helping people get into homes, buy and sell real estate in the DFW area.
Right on. Well, Real Producers is all about relationships. It's a community of the top agents and the businesses that they love. And I know you guys love each other. I've heard that. Tell us a little bit about how you met. And, this show is called The Difference. So I want to hear the difference you guys are making in each other's lives. But first off, how did you connect?
I mean, ultimately, we went on a developer trip to Turks and Caicos last year, and sponsored by Huffines and Trenton and his wife. Is it Tanya?
Tanya. Mm-hmm.
Tanya. Yeah, they were some of the first people we met on the trip and got to know them, and had breakfast one morning together and had a few drinks together and all that good stuff. But,
at breakfast? Wait, you had drinks at breakfast? Is that? Oh, Turks and Caicos.
Sometimes, yeah.
Turks and Caicos, man. Come on, man. No judgment.
But all in all, good people. So it was a natural fit. And then, being a builder and then a realtor, it was he had sold homes for us out in Inspiration and probably elsewhere. And we, look forward to next time we meet.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right on. Trenton, what's your side of that story? Was it really drinks at breakfast?
Mimosas. Okay, the pina colada was really great. I think that was the best drink they were making, I believe.
If you could get one, right?
I know. It's a little delayed, but we had a great time. Great trip.
Yeah. So this was with, you said one of the developers you work with, and both of you guys had I guess, won some type of a trip, I guess, right?
Well, it all started with, I got a call from, what's the girl's name that works with you guys? Rachel?
Rachel.
Yeah. She called me and said, I want to interview you because you're one of the top 10 realtors in DFW.
Told you that?
Yeah. And I said, I believe it, but really I didn't do anything. Simply I list our homes. So it put me there. But that kind of changed the narrative to, well, maybe we could use you in a different capacity. Would you like to come to one of our parties, our networking events? So yeah, we did that and got to meet a lot of great people and, decided to be a part of the organization on a sponsorship level. And it's been great. Yeah,
we've certainly had some great, we have great partners, of course, in DFW, but we were very happy when Shattuck Homes joined Real Producers in this community because, of course, you're really all over the Metroplex, and I'd love to kind of talk a little bit about that. Your dad started this business in the 60s, right? And now you're in communities all over DFW. How many communities do you have going?
How many we have?
Probably about 18.
Yeah, something
right
like
now. We probably have 22 if everything could get going.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of lots coming online, but due to supply chain, difficult to get them to the market,
Yeah.
Trenton's shaking his head over there.
Man, if I hear supply chain, man. Wow.
Yeah.
We were not trying not to use that word.
That word just never even crossed our mind, 3 years ago. Nobody talked about supply chain. So let's kind of jump into that. So of course, supply chain issues have been a big deal in DFW. We've got low inventory, high demand. Some people say it's softening a little bit. Are y'all feeling that at all? As far as a little bit more, Trenton, I'll just speak to you from a realtor standpoint. Are you seeing a bit more inventory? And how's interest rates affecting kind of what you're doing, your side of the business?
That's the yin and yang of it, basically. Yeah. We are seeing a little more inventory from builders come back to the market, but they're coming back to the market because the interest rates have gone up. Yeah. And a lot of people who qualified at a lower interest rate now, because the higher interest rate, have some financing issues. Not a lot of, it's not majority, but I am seeing slower, some other, a lot of builders and a lot of agents I'm speaking with. It's kind of slowed up a little bit. Qualifications, there's been less applications with some lenders. So I think it's just an initial shock right now to the public with the interest rates going up and things are going to adjust. But I am seeing a little more inventory. So cash buyers and things of that nature, that's not an issue. But for a lot of the financing, I am seeing that a little bit.
Yeah, I have been hearing a lot from our lender partners. They're working less with investors if they can. They're trying to get, and they're working with more qualified buyers too. People coming in with cash, with excess cash in case they need that, right? Mm-hmm. But just the demand's kind of cooled off, so we might get to more of a competitive market where buyers might be able to negotiate a little bit better with inventory kind of coming back a little bit.
That's kind of what I see, because inventory definitely. I mean, you guys, Peter, Jay, you guys can speak to this. It allows the inventory to kind of catch up a little bit to the demand, but I mean that's on their level. But that's kind of what I'm seeing. It gives the market an opportunity to catch up.
Yeah, I think you got to think a little bit about what cool down means too. So we're seeing it, a little bit slower on our end. And what does that mean? Probably means the interest list doesn't have 150 people on it. It might have 10,
Right.
And so it's still pretty robust out there, and so we're still optimistic, and there's still plenty of demand, but we're hopeful that we can have the bandwidth. This will allow us to put more inventory on the market for people like Trenton to, for his clients to come, because it's just been crazy,
Yeah. And he's right. That's a great point, Jay. It's not that it's cooled down. It's just been incredibly hot. So
Right.
it's just dialed down just a little bit. The demand is still there. If you're a seller, it's still a great time. I usually focus on builders. I love bringing my clients to Shattuck Homes and builders and such. So it's usually a much enjoyable process. But now I can with a little bit more confidence, go into a Shattuck model home and hope that there'll be something available in the next month or two, or something that just came back to the market in this short time while things are adjusting a little bit to the market.
Well,
yeah, I was just saying, I think, through COVID, everything kind of went all different directions, and then it obviously went up. That said, I think a lot of buyers, became fatigued, and with that, they didn't quite know what to do, so they almost went to the sideline out of despair. They put an offer in on a pre-owned home or a new home, they didn't get it, and they fall in love and then get rejected. And I think a lot of that's kind of gone away. But at the same time, we sold it, like everybody, a ton of homes. We're trying to build right now, it's been a fight every day to get anything you need for a home. And so, we pulled up the stick a couple times on what we would sell just to try to play catch up, and compound that with the backlog we have and rates going up. Who's going to move? Hopefully they move. We need the business, but if they're locked in at a 3% rate, why go pay 5%?
Yeah.
Right. Well, Peter and Jay, you guys, I'm certain you've heard that a lot of builders have been taking advantage of clients and agents and kind of their position in this market because they've had the product. And but you guys have taken a completely different approach, haven't you?
Yeah, for sure. I know. I don't want to
go ahead.
talk over Peter, but I know when a lot of companies out there that we compete with had cut realtor commissions, and really dug in, which is a business decision, on their part. I get it. Peter and his family were very vocal of, hey, these people got us here, and they'll be here on the other side of this. And so we opted to keep our structure intact.
Yeah, we didn't touch anything.
And, I think, people like Trenton are very real to us. They're our friends out there, and relationships are a big deal.
And it does resonate throughout the realtor community. We definitely discuss it. We definitely talk about it. And we all let everybody know who's doing what and who removed. I mean, it is a situation. So you guys are highly spoken of with Shattuck Homes. We really appreciate you. Other builders that stuck by us as well. And that's literally the conversation. We're like, just wait till things change around, for the ones who decided to go the other way. But we do remember.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of our close realtor friends we've spoken with, and they'll name brand X and brand Y what they've done wrong, and we learned from that. It's a long game, not a short game.
Right.
We've been hearing those stories, excuse me, from our agents as well that have really been fighting the new construction, everything from just the hurdles from, of course, just getting into the queue for it, to cost plus agreements that then, that plus is also the builder's commission on top of that. So suddenly they're, with the cost of materials and everything going up, suddenly they're $200,000 over what they originally were quoted. Just crazy numbers, and having to either, live with it or move on. So I can certainly see how that could sour the reputation as a whole, but it really does sound like you've done the right thing. Even, I have an inspection company, and even some of the roadblocks that home inspectors, face for their clients as well, that ask us to come be a third party inspector, and just some of the things that the hoops that they have to jump through. But you guys are one of those that really is cooperative to get the deal done for the client. And I know that as we vetted, all of the real producers, business partners, we call them vetted business partners because they're referred to us by top agents. But we've had other builders that have come to us that don't have that reputation. And we really, I hate to say it, we don't necessarily want those type of builders in our community, even though, we certainly don't mind their advertising dollars, but your reputation certainly has preceded you. I was looking at your reviews, and as I mentioned in the intro, just the 5-star customer experience. But what I really noticed was how many times they mentioned your staff, your team. They love the product, the experience, but they kept naming names like Maria and let's see, Lexi, Jason, Leslie, all these great people. So I know it takes a village, but tell us a little bit, Peter, about your team. What do you guys try and do, to create this great experience?
I mean, recently I heard a podcast, I don't remember on what, and the guy said, typically a business always says customers first, but in my business, we put employees first, because if they're happy, that will exude through the whole organization, and will end up translating into the best customer experience. So I think a lot of that goes a long way. We've got people on our team that have been with us for, I don't know, in some capacity on and off 25, 30 years, longest tenured, I don't know who that would be, but like Jay and I have worked together for the most part since late 90s,
Wow.
I consider Jay a best friend and a brother, we got a lot of those in our company.
Well, and you guys, I think, as I understand it, you guys finished as one of the top places to work in DFW, didn't you?
We did.
Yeah, we're real proud of that. That really, I think it really speaks a lot to what Peter was saying, about that effect ripples through the whole organization. But also, we're not perfect, especially through all the challenges this market brings us. And so, when you have relationships with people like Trenton and other, realtors that we have relationships with, you want them to be able to go, okay, so this isn't going perfect. These are good people. I'm going to pick up the phone and, call somebody I know. And it's a short climb to the top around here Peter's not in some vault that you can't touch him, and neither is myself. And so we try to keep ourselves accessible, and we also empower our people, to make decisions in the field, to make the right decisions, for those folks.
Yeah, for sure.
Right on.
Yeah, my father, who's very vocal and funny at the same time, you'd have him all alone on one of these, and his brother. He's like, why aren't we making more money? Well, through all that we've been through, we sold more homes than ever, but we closed fewer than, we have in the last 5 years. And like today, Target stock is down 20%. Meanwhile, they're getting accused of price gouging for, anything from diapers to whatever. But everybody in this economy is being affected by supply chain and personnel. And, it's a battle right now. And my dad, his phrase is, let's just get to
the pot of gold.
Because
if we can just build them and close them, we'd be in a good shape, because we gotta have that capital in order to get new land positions.
Yeah. So it's been kind of a chase for a year and a half, 2 years. But
yeah, and still manage not to cut realtor commissions and some of those things that you're not cutting or what's the cutting your nose off to spite your face, or biting the hand that feeds you, or whichever one you want to use, right?
Right.
Well, that's who we're in it with, honestly. I mean, and like I said, we're not perfect. And, Trenton calls up here and is like, hey, I'm number, 99 on this list. This isn't a fun process. We're like, okay, let's sit down and, and try to figure out what we can do better on our end. And, we try to, they're our business partners, and the people that buy your homes can teach you a lot about it,
Definitely.
So Peter, you mentioned your dad. What's Peter Sr. doing these days besides inspiring you with great quotes like that?
Oh, typically my dad likes to do, I call it the fun stuff. We get to do all the other stuff, but he likes to get in plans, model homes, kind of the creative side, I would say, more than what I do. I'm in land a lot, and I'm in operations and things like that, and finance. Jay, he kind of takes that to another level on the front line more than me, but he's involved in a lot of the same stuff I am.
Well, hey, real quick, I want to switch gears. I want to talk to Trenton a little bit about, as I mentioned, Trenton, you were featured this month in the Dallas Real Producers. And as I said in the intro, hey, Linda, can I show everybody? Look at that. That's a good looking man right there. You kind of got like you've got two sides going on here, the business and then the casual. I want to talk about that a little bit. But what I loved is the title of the article was Active Advocate. And you describe yourself as an advocate for your clients. What does that mean to you?
It's everything. It's really what it's about when you're representing a client. You're actually the advocate for them. So when I understand what they're looking for, I understand what their desire, what their want is. My job is to be an advocate for them when I'm working with builders or working with the other agent on an existing property. That I'm representing them as they as they want me to. So and it takes a lot of listening. It takes experience, and it takes a little guidance. Because I'm here to help them ask questions that they don't know to ask, and things of that nature. So, I'm really, my goal is to be the book of knowledge, but really share everything that I know with them in relevance to what they're looking to accomplish in the transaction.
I love that. I've taught realtor CE classes for years, and one of them I use a similar analogy as realtors being an advocate. Kind of like taking, you've ever taken a child or an elderly parent to the doctor, and your role is that a parent or that adult child is to be an advocate, to ask questions that somebody kind of under distress or duress, maybe they're overwhelmed and not thinking about, and don't even know to ask, and remembering those things, and really being their guide, holding their hand through that process, letting them make the final decision. But ultimately, whether that's attending an inspection and having that conversation and helping them kind of understand what's important or digest that to, of course, sitting down with your lender and the title company and everything else, walking through that whole process. I really believe that you guys truly are advocates. And I love that you kind of assigned yourself that, because it's a powerful word. It really does mean that you're talking about your fiduciary duty to your client and showing up for them in all aspects of this and getting them to the finish line. So
I take it seriously. I definitely take it seriously, and it's a responsibility that I welcome, I enjoy, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, you also got some background in this. At some point, I think before you were a realtor extraordinaire, as I said. You were in communications and in radio. You're bringing some stuff to the table that is kind of unique. Tell us a little bit about your background and how that has kind of led you to this point.
Well, the radio was a fluke. I never even wanted to even thought, only wanted music on the radio. I never thought about actually being on the radio, but this is back, right out of high school. So believe it or not, you're looking at one of the Dallas-Fort Worth rappers here. Back in the day. I see you. But so I
was more of a K104 guy. I was more of the soul than the. But
well, I was up there with Kenny J.
Yeah. All right.
He's still a personal good friend of mine, but I used to go up to Las Colinas where on 100.3 Jams and Russ Parr and Alfreda's, they had their morning show. And so I would go up there every morning meeting Russ at the elevators, trying to give him my demo tape because he was one of Ruthless Records' first artists up in California. Wow. Bobby, Jimmy, and the Critters. You may remember that back in the day. Right. So I knew he still had contact. So I'd go up there every morning, just, wait till he would talk to me, meet him at the elevator. And he got tired of it after about 2 weeks. And he was like, man, do you want to be my intern? So I was like, sure. Will they get me behind these doors? So that's how my radio career started. I ended up being just the intern on his show, then a small personality. And I was watching how he did radio. And I kind of forgot about music because I was in school as well. So I would do the morning show and then go to school at Northlake College down the road. And then I ended up, when I ended up leaving there, I left there and went over to K104 as an intern as well. Hung out with Kenny J after the morning show. And I ended up getting my own little gig out in East Texas. And, that's definitely not the big city. I learned that. So I came back home and went back to school for computer animation, got a bachelor's in arts degree, and came out and was ready to do that, and just decided to jump into communication because that was right about 98, I believe, 97, 98, and cell phones were really blowing up, and I jumped right into communications and network support and stayed there probably for about 10, 11 years of that until until as you read in the magazine what happened, then I just decided to jump into real estate. But all of that helped me with communications, with speaking, really having confidence in what you're doing. So, and the network support was incredible because you were working with so many different people all over the country, not knowing their mood, all that kind of stuff, and you having to adjust to that. So it's really the same thing when I'm working with my clients, knowing what question to ask when they don't know how to fix their stuff or whatever. I would have to find ways to prod them to get the information that I need in order to correct the situation and rebuild their network and things of that nature. So communications really helped me an absolute lot when it comes to working with clients, working with people, and asking the right questions, and really having a demeanor to, when they're panicking and spazzing out, you have to be that calm in the storm, Yeah. So working with all those different personalities was truly a plus.
And you've got some family in real estate. Your little brother got you into real estate, didn't he?
Yeah, that was the night before I resigned at the communications company. I called him, and he had been in real estate probably for about 4 years part-time, I believe, but he finally left, and I think he was at the time, his last job, I believe, was at, I can't think of the, slips in my mind all of a sudden, but anyway, he never went back to it. So I called him for some advice. He said, yeah, you'll be pretty good at it, and so literally that night, once I finished my shift, I knew that was my last time working there. I actually started my license, paid for my license, and started, paid for my class and started school the next morning. And I never went back. 45 days I had my license, and I was very happy to march back in there and put my, resign and put my badge on the table. And to this day, I probably closed half the people I work with up there.
There you go.
Wow. Wow. I was going to ask you, that corporate background, we've seen a lot of agents that have taken, that sphere that they had and the lives that they've touched along the way. Did your time in corporate America and in radio, those relationships, have they translated into real estate clients as well?
Without question. It's anybody, this is what I tell agents that I bring on board. Everybody has a sphere. If you're born and raised here in DFW, there's no reason. You have to in my mind, you really have to be a really unlikable person for nobody to want to work with you in real estate. because the hard part about building your business in real estate isn't really getting a sphere to me. It's more about building trust and letting them know that you know what you're doing. And because everybody that I know in Dallas Fort Worth knows that I'm a real estate agent. I mean, I was speaking to my 5th grade school teacher yesterday. You know, I mean, I go way back. I closed my 3rd grade teacher's son. I mean, anybody who ever know I existed knows what I do. And that's like, most of it because of social media and just making sure that I'm intentional about doing that. So yeah, from work to personal to anything. Church, church is just conversation. I've never worn my name badge, so that's not what I do. But you know, after church, everybody talks. So you know, that's all I know now. I talk real estate. I don't even know if it's all I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Trenton, what's all that hardware behind you?
That's what I was going to ask. Is that those real estate awards or rapper awards?
I just made those. Those are rappers. Those are my Grammys.
That's a virtual background he found online.
No, so you know, I've been in it 7 years. My first year, I got Rookie of the Year at the brokerage I was with. Then the following 3 years, I was the top salesperson. Then I was Realtor of the Year. Then I got my 2 Icon Awards from EXP, and I may have something else smashed back there. I got a lot of certificates, but it's been a great ride, and all that really is just a testament to me. It's a reminder of being that advocate for my clients, and when I focus on doing that, all that stuff just comes. But you know, that's what it reminds me of. It's just, you know, the hardware is just a hardware proof you know what you're doing, but you know, being an advocate is everything.
Well, I know you're doing a lot of good with what you've been blessed with. In fact, you have a charity that you're kind of involved in. Is it the Real Stories College Homeless Scholarship? Is that something that I read in your feature? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, it's actually the mayor of Mesquite is running that. So what we do is we meet a lot of the kids in college. There's a lot of kids in college that really live out of their vehicles. They don't have a place to stay. They're not eating properly, things of that nature. And it's really a struggle. So I've teamed with him, and he knows to reach out to me whenever he needs me to speak. Financially, I'm more than happy to contribute to things of that nature. And I'm looking for other charities really to be a part of as well, because I've been blessed, and I feel I'd love to be a vessel to help others as well. And so, you know, it's really a satisfying and gratifying thing when you can help others in every aspect and walk of life. Right
on. Peter and Jay, I know you guys have done a lot out in the community. What's some of the things that you guys are passionate about outside of work?
Well, in my family, we have volleyball. My daughter's on a club volleyball team, and right before we started this call, my wife called me and said, "Are you going to go to Orlando? I need to know now." I'm like, "I got to go, honey." But no, I mean, I've got, in our family here in Dallas Fort Worth, we've got my Uncle Bill, we've got my Aunt Gail, we've got everybody in our family lives here except maybe my brother Mark and my dad's older brother in Houston. And so family's a big deal with us. My sister's involved in the business, Beth. My wife's family lives here. So I would say family would be the key thing. And everybody's so busy, it's difficult to spend enough time with everybody. But you go to Thanksgiving dinner, and home building is a topic more than anything, calling Jay on Thanksgiving Day, asking him a question or whatever, yeah, family and business. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Jay, how about you?
Thanksgiving Day. We're as far as family's concerned, we're that's my pride and joy as well. I'm kind of like the polar opposite of Peter. All my family is 1,000 miles away, and so that presents its challenges. But my wife Tiffany and my kids they keep me busy. We're very outdoorsy people. We like camping and hunting and fishing, and anything we can do outside together. Kids are into baseball and jiu-jitsu, and they're really into their friends. So,
Right.
you know, so I always say when I was at an event at my oldest kid's school today, he got an award for academic excellence. I was proud of that. And
Right on.
I always joke that I'm just Tiffany's husband over there. Like nobody really knows who I am. Everybody knows who my wife is. So I just try to make sure I follow suit as best I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a balance, and I love that, Peter, that you've, and of course, Trenton, and all of you that have created a way to work with your families, that's a gift right there, because we all want our kids to grow up and learn and do things on their own, but to be able to provide a path that, and work with family, it just makes life rich, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah. I mean, as a
And a little bit-
family, you kind of live. As a family, you kind of live and die together, And when I first started dating my wife, things were, good and better and better. And then here came 2008, and I thank God for my wife hanging in there. Some tough times there for a while. My wife Julie, has been always a loyal partner with me, and we've got 3 kids, and each of them have their own pros and cons, and love them all, but you look around the table and, those are your people, and it all starts right there. My Uncle Bill, when I was a kid, would say, you know what, you got a great family, and your kid kind of going, okay, but the older you get, the more you realize it.
Yep.
Yeah.
My wife
My
and
brother-in-law. What's
that's
that?
what my wife and Julie was really talking about on the trip, was the similarities between, because he's got 3 and I've got 3 as well, and except for when our baby girl graduates this year, we'll be empty nesters at this point. So
Well, Jay still needs one more. He can catch up.
Man, no, I'm good. My wife
Don't
killed
do
me.
it, Jay. The odds are still with you. It's even right now.
Yeah.
They gang up
come
on you.
on, Jay, jump in, man, catch up.
Man, I'm good. I'm always the oldest dad in every event too. I get a lot of yes sirs and that sort of thing. I'm like, come on now. I don't want to hear. I was a late bloomer with kids. So I still got a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old.
You'll be all right.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And certainly it's why we do what we do. Real quick, I kind of want to go back to what you guys are seeing for the rest of 2022. We talked about the market shifting a little bit. That's a big buzzword, right? And what are you seeing? Anything that you don't have to give a prediction, but what are some of the indicators that you're seeing for the rest of the year? I'll start with you, Trenton.
I take my lead really from, it would be from what was going on the builder side. As far as existing homes, though, they're going to be I think sellers are going to be the last ones to start to slash prices until that home sits for 30 days in this crazy market. The builders get it already. I've seen some builders already offering incentives and things like that. But some of the sellers, well, my house isn't selling yet. I'm like, well, $600,000 house, payments on it maybe, $650,000, $660,000 if it's a $600 house with the interest rate. So making them understand the difference in the interest rates and people's payments is going to be a hard thing, because they've had 2 years of just loveliness, 100,000 over asking, and just the ridiculousness, and that's what they're expecting. Some, depending on the area, it's definitely still happens. But we're at the precipice of that change. But existing sellers are going to be the last ones to be like, okay, it's been sitting on the market for 3 months. Let me go ahead and, that 100,000 over I was looking for isn't coming.
Yeah, so you're really having to kind of probably provide some hard data to convince them. And to reset those expectations, because their mind's out there. They've lost their mind in a lot of cases, So,
and the market allowed it, so I understand it. But I've got I had a listing appointment the other day, and I just had to explain everything, and they still wanted to go for. And you always want to make sure you pull the most. But my goal is to be like, I don't need my sign in the yard just for marketing. I'm trying to help the seller accomplish that goal as fast and efficiently as possible. So I tell them the truth, and I try to help them with what I'm seeing and what I know from the agents around me and in the community in real estate as well. So I'm not going to be I'm the wrong agent to just tell you sweet nothings and put my sign in the yard and let it sit forever and you start questioning. I don't do that. I actually try to bring real value, real truth, and try to accomplish the goal and operate as much as I can above the current market, but within the market situation, current situation. And I want them to be as knowledgeable of it as well as I am.
Peter, what do you guys and Jay? You're the general manager, so I'm sure you're seeing a lot more of the stuff on the ground to some extent. Cost of lumber, I hear, is going down a little bit. There's some things that, and at least that's what Lowe's told me. I don't know.
I mean,
but they buy a lot of lumber. But what's going on? What are you seeing?
Let me start off with a perspective. Growing up in the business, I got to see it firsthand as a son. I remember in the early 70s, they had the OPEC embargo, and that affected my father's business. And then inflation during the Carter years, and then, the S&L times. And, you kind of wait for signs of what's going to happen. I told Jay back in, I don't know what year, 2007, to my management team, I said, hey, everybody, I would not be blowing your money right now. I wouldn't be going out and buying this and buying that. I see it coming, and I remember back in 1984, my father and I were walking down the street with my uncle in Houston, and he was a lawyer down there with a big firm. And he said, things have stopped here. And my dad and I looked at each other like, not in Dallas, like we felt invincible at the moment. And guess what? About time I'm, thinking that, another thing comes, and, I call my dad. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna work at the company this summer. Well, we don't have a position for you, so I'm very, leery that, that you don't go bet against the Fed. The good thing is we've got plenty of jobs here. We've got low inventory. We don't have the cheap money or the crazy money that, fueled all the mortgage-backed security stuff. So, I think we can ride this one through without a whole lot of problems, but still at the same time, like you hear of the people in the refi business at the mortgage companies laying people off right now. So there are things going on that are, that'll impact us someday in a way, may not any severe way, but things are definitely different than they were a year ago, put it that way. But we got record backlog, and we have people continuing to buy homes. So
yeah. Is there even such a thing as a spec home anymore?
Oh yeah. But that's what we debate on all the time. When to sell them, do we sell them early? Do we sell them late? Do we, teams ravenous, ready to sell. And when you tell them no, they don't like it.
Yeah. We have a lot of houses under production right now, and we took a little pause here in the month of May to get more inventory. Like, hey, let's start some homes. The construction cycle's long, so what we start now is what we'll probably have, in the spring to sell. And I think we feel spring's going to spring next year. We'll wake up and there'll be still people moving here. Banks are in good shape. People are putting a lot of money down on their houses. That's a big difference between today and yesteryear. People are putting huge amounts of money down on these homes. It's not like they're getting 103% financing and, hoping for the best. And so I think banks feel, better today than they did, back then. Everybody's learned their lessons.
Yeah, and I think that, you've got other builders who, are building on the fringes at a lower price point that we're not going to be affected by that. But as rates go up, the lower price buyers going to have a harder time. And that typically is occurring, like I had a guy the other day